Hello children, today we are going to study the poem Amanda of class 10 of your textbook NCERT First Flight. The poet Robin Keane is an Australian poet and she has written a lot on children. In the poem, the poet has tried to draw the attention of the readers to his little girl named Amanda and her likes, her dislikes, what she wishes, etc. Here Amanda represents a child who is constantly being nagged by her parents. Through this poem, the poet wants to convey the message that often we see a disconnection between the child and the parent bonding. This is because parents are adult, they are mature, they're responsible, while children are not. Now, children are carefree and they are oblivious of their future repercussions of their actions. We as children fail to understand that, sometimes in fit of anger or disagreement. On the other hand, children think their parents like nagging them all the time. They want to instruct them what to do, what not to do, and they take it as a threat to their freedom. They fail to understand that freedom without norms or restrictions is not a boon, but a curse. But again, children cannot be blamed for that because they are not mature. And similarly, parents too can't be blamed because they are mature and responsible and can't give their full freedom to the children because they are not mature enough to sense what is right, what is wrong. Now there are different ways of looking at the poem. I mean to say, we can have different perspective while looking at the poem. For example, we can present a very sorry state where the child is a victim of restrictions meted out to the child by, the parents, curtailing his or her freedom, and making, in this way we can make the parents the villain of the entire situation. Or we can show that the mother is a responsible person who is constantly trying to shoulder her duties to raise a good human being and a responsible citizen. Telling the child what to do, what not to. She cannot just, let her child act as per his or her own whims and fancies all the time. So children, I completely leave it on to you what stand you would like to take. And I am very sure you understand why our mothers control us, and yes, for our betterment. And we fail to understand that you must understand. Yes. Now let us look at the structure of the poem. In the first stanza, the constant nagging is beautifully shown by repetition of the word Amanda. Interestingly, each stanza has a counterpart. One stanza reflects a reality, while the next 3 lines in succession to that stanza represents Amanda's fancy world, to where she tries to escape from the real world represented by her mother. Don't bite your nails, Amanda. Don't hunch your shoulders, Amanda. Stop that slouching and sit up straight, Amanda. So in the very first stanza, we see the mother constantly instructing Amanda not to hunch her shoulders, to sit up straight, right? And to this, she immediately tries to escape to her fancy world where she imagines herself as a mermaid sitting in a relaxed way in the beautiful green sea, where she is the only inhabitant. She just wants to escape from the entire world, from the other people, and wants to be a loner. Then the next stanza. Did you finish your homework, Amanda? Did you tidy your room, Amanda? I thought I told you to clean your shoes, Amanda. So again, the mother is telling her child how to keep her room. That is important to keep her things in a proper way, to tidy her room. But then again, she is disgusted, and disgusted to that extent that she imagines herself to be an orphan. She says, I'm an orphan roaming the street. I pattern soft dust with my hushed bare feet. The silence is golden, the freedom is sweet. So she values freedom and at the same time silence the most. At her mother's hand, she feels her freedom being curtailed by her mother, and that's why she says freedom is sweet. When she is alone, she gets her freedom, and when she is alone, she also gets silence, which she compares to gold. She feels, she finds it, she values it to the level of gold. She finds it so expensive, because otherwise in the real world, she doesn't get it when she is with her mother, right? Then again, she's been dragged back to her real world with the words of her mother when she says, don't eat that chocolate, Amanda. Remember your acne, Amanda? Will you please look at me when I'm speaking to you, Amanda? She again is being rebuked by her mother for not looking at her when she's speaking to her. And then again, to her respite comes her fancy world. I'm Rapunzel, I've not a care. Life in a tower is tranquil and rare. I will certainly never let down my bright hair. So here she imagines herself to be Rapunzel. Yes, but yes, with a difference. She won't let her hair down for any person, any visitor, because she values her freedom. She values her the peace that she enjoys when she is alone. She values tranquility. She values freedom. She wants to be alone now. And after that, stop that sulking at once, Amanda. You're always so moody, Amanda. Anyone would think that I nagged at you, Amanda. So when she sees her daughter in a bad mood, so she tells her that people will think I am harassing you all the time. So the poem focuses on the upbringing of a small child here, right? What we understand. And here the poet highlights two very important things. Firstly, she highlights the fact that freedom of a child should be valued, and we as parents should try to understand our children's psychology. But at the same time, she also highlights the fact that we parents are adults and we are much mature and we are responsible. So the responsibility of raising a child to a good human being lies on our shoulders. So with both the points put together, the poem is being formed, and so now it's up to you what perspective you form for the poem, to look at it and to summarize it, and the message that you want to take from the poem completely lies on you. So that's all for the lesson. I hope it will help you to understand or to take a stand for the poem better. So I concluded. I wish you all a happy reading. Stay safe. Thank you.